Minding My Business, the CEO story with Ramesh Menon and Hrishi K.
Hello, the festive season and what gets the wheels of consumption going. And the Lord knows we need that after the bleak pandemic year and some that we've had. So let's keep our festive spirits high. Welcome to episode 4 of Minding My Business, the CEO story. And comes to you on 94.3 Radio 1 on FM radio and in podcast form on HT Smartcast and leading streaming services. This is a Radio 1 production. I'm radio and podcast host Hrishi K, and let me welcome my co-host, a man whose fan following has been increasing with every episode, Ramesh Menon, CEO, HT Media Limited. Ramesh, how are you? You're on a nice roll after our last episode with Prabjit Singh from Uber. You did superb.
Hi, Hrishi. I'm well. I don't know about the fan following, but you're right about one thing, the festive spirit. Right? India, one festival barely gets over and, you're already into the next one. And I guess that's what keeps the economy turning. And today, it's our absolute honor and privilege to bring on a man who's etched his name firmly in the history of great business leaders in this country. I'm really excited to have him on. I have dealt with him earlier when I started my career in the edible oils business. And I'm so privileged to be talking to him today.
It's always not 6 degrees of separation, but 1 degree separation with Mr Mariwala. Ramesh, you've said it. What an icon. Let's go right ahead and welcome him. This gentleman is a visionary entrepreneur. He's chairman of Marico, Fortune India 500 company. He was recently bestowed with the EY Entrepreneur of the Year 2020 award, the world's most prestigious award for entrepreneurs, which I think is fabulous.
Yes, and what I also love about him is that he has transformed a traditional commodities-driven business into a leading consumer products and services company. I still remember 30 years ago when I was, on the other side as a competitor in ITC, the way he transformed the business with brands like Saffola and Sweeker. So over to you, Hrishi.
Sweet. Harsh, we really appreciate you being on the show. Welcome, the legendary Hrishi Mariwala. How are you doing? I hope the family and you are safe and healthy.
Yes, more than healthy. I'm absolutely in pink of my health. You can see the shirt where I'm wearing. It's all glowing. I'm in perfect health and keeping very fit, exercising a lot and on top of everything.
Lovely.
Hi, Harsh. We really appreciate you joining us on the show. I want to start with, what's been the toughest brand to build, toughest business that you've managed in your fabulously diverse career as an entrepreneur?
Ramesh, thank you for calling me for this interaction. It's my pleasure to meet you. So, as you know, it was a traditionally family managed organization and, I was a part of a larger organization with diverse businesses with many family members. At one stage, it was my father, 3 of his brothers and 4 of my cousins, 9 people in the same company. And can you imagine 9 family members as a part of one organization and the chaos it can create because of the fact that there is dual reporting relationships and everybody's on each other's toes. And to get out of that, which was inhibiting me in terms of growing the consumer product business was a big challenge. I could have fought with the family, but many times we've seen it in many business organizations or many family managed business organizations where they just keep on fighting and the business goes on, the fights still continue. I didn't want that to happen. So I decided to take a consensus-based approach, which can be it can take a lot of time and effort, and it took 2 to 3 years for me to make that happen. But looking back, that has been the most important decision in my life because that gave me a lot of freedom in terms of opportunity to do things my way and also to build a focused business around consumer products. And that's how Marico was born in the year 1990. So looking back, that has been the most important decision in my life as far as the business was concerned. And I think just freed me up and I could do what I wanted to do and build the whole company, on my own dreams.
I'm very excited that you've decided to pen your entrepreneurial journey. The book, Harsh Realities, The Making of Marico is out. Everybody who's listening, watching, please go and get your copy online or on ground. Would it be fair to say, Harsh, sir, that it's your official biography? Just a little bit about the book. And I'm happy that nuggets like what you just gave out are there in the book.
Yes, the book actually is, you can almost call it an official biography. autobiography. It took a little longer than what I had expected. When I stepped down as the managing director, I had some time on my hands. And then I'm not an author, so I went through my own learning curve in terms of how to write a book. And in that process, I roped in Professor Ramcharan, who was an acclaimed author. He is a management guru, he's a thought leader. He's written something like 30 books, selling more than 4 million copies. And he's a renowned name internationally. So when he readily agreed to co-author with me, I was like on cloud nine. I said, wow, this is fantastic. With him as my co-author, it will really, the book will really stand out. And the way the book has been written is my story in each chapter, which is written in a very easy to read format. And then at the end of each chapter, he gives his insights of how he views my journey. So it's a combination of very light reading, but at the same time getting converted into some take-home value, which he adds at the end of each chapter. I also give my viewpoint at the end of each chapter. And I must say that the feedback I've got from the readers, whether they are students or whether they are entrepreneurs or professionals or even housewives, is amazing. Each one has said that there is something of the book which I can take home in terms of take-home value. And I think that's what is really making me very excited about the book. The fact that I'm giving something back to the society. I don't view the book from any other angle, but all my learnings, if they can be relevant to any other individuals, I would feel very proud about it. I'd feel that, okay, my life has been worth living. So the whole objective is to actually impart my learnings, and there have been diverse learnings, whether it's running a business or recruiting talent, or even in the area of board management, also giving something back to the society. So there are learnings depending on who you are and what's your background. One thing I can assure you, Hrishi, that I'm ready to take any bet with anybody that you will get some take-home value out of the book. And that's what is most heartening. In the pandemic, I sat down with my wife, and the book, I was not too happy with the way it was written. And she was able to add a lot of value because she knows me well. And then, she added the emotional side in the book. She made me dig deeper and, come out with some anecdotes and make it far more lighter to read. So all in all, I'm very happy with the way the book has turned out. Even the cover of the book was something which I'm very, very happy with, because we went not to a publisher. Normally one goes to a publisher to design a cover, but we went to a lady who just specializes in book covers. And she read the book, she spent some time with me and arrived at this cover option based on a lot of inciting and in-depth thinking. And I think that's come out well. Even the name of the book, Harsh Realities, is coined by an Ascent member. Ascent is an organization which I'm supporting. It's helping entrepreneurs scale up and grow. And we have something like 750, 800 entrepreneurs associated with Ascent. And one of the members suggested this name. And I'm very happy the way the name has turned out to be. It's a pun on my name, Harsh. It's Harsh Realities. And the book also has some harsh realities. So all in all, they say that you should not judge the book by its cover, but I am saying, on the contrary, you should judge this book by its cover. It's a package deal, including the name, the cover of the book, and what is included inside the book.
That's fabulous, actually. I'm sure it has something in it for everyone. You said from housewives to professionals to anybody who's doing anything, there's something in it for it. I'm also fascinated by what you just mentioned, which is the Asan Foundation, right? A peer-supported learning group for entrepreneurs that you started a few years ago.
Yes.
Tell us more about it. Why is peer learning more necessary, and especially in this post-pandemic entrepreneurial ecosystem? Why would you think that peer learning is so?
That's a very good question. Before I answer your question specifically in terms of peer learning, let me just say why I started Ascent. It's my way of giving something back to the society. I don't like to give a donation to anybody, but I like to give my time. And what is known as active giving, I also support it financially in terms of all the overhead costs. So I strongly believe that entrepreneurs have a big role to play in driving India's growth journey. And there is a limit to which you can expect politicians to drive India's economic growth. Ultimately, the onus has to lie with entrepreneurs. And what I have tried to do is actually galvanize entrepreneurs who have a growth ambition, who want to learn from each other. And every person goes through a learning curve. Every person has a blind spot. So what we tend to do in Ascent is to put entrepreneurs in a trust group, what we call about 8 to 10 entrepreneurs in a trust group, which don't compete with each other in terms of businesses. And then they reflect on their own growth journey, their business plans, and I think learn from each other, because as I said, every person has blind spots. So if I have an issue on hand which is discussed in my trust group, I may realize a certain blind spot I may have because it is thrown open to other trust members. And then separately, to answer your question, in the pandemic, I think all of us went through differing degrees of stress and anxiety. Some of them went through much higher degrees of stress and anxiety depending on the kind of business they were in. So at that time, when you just talk to other individuals in the trust group, that itself is it's a way to deal with stress, and it's actually nullifies the stress to some extent. And also how each individual has dealt with stress is something very, very important. So I also support another initiative which we call Mariwala Health Initiative, which is helping in the area of mental health. So we combined the Mariwala Health Initiative and the Ascent initiative, and did a study on the issue of mental health, what is impacting entrepreneurs in the area of mental health, and then that was published to all our Ascent members, and also we published it, and whoever wants to read it, they can read that report. But it's very value adding, because I think one has to proactively deal with mental health. We as a country, or as a globally, we pay a huge price in the area of mental health in terms of impact on productivity, depressions, and worst case situations in terms of suicides. But if we proactively deal with it, we deal with mental health as seriously as we deal with physical health, then the impact of this will be much, much lesser, because a lot of this can be managed. And it is proactively managed by talking to individuals, and depending again on the individual, one can listen to music or exercise or meditate or do yoga. And there are ways and ways of handling mental stress. And if you neglect it, then it will just build up over a period of time and lead to serious ailments.
I'm going to take a page out of Ramesh's book and ask a very particular question, get down to the micro of it as opposed to the macro. You did talk about what was the most challenging part in your career, but I'm going to ask you about the toughest brand to build, the business to manage. There are so many products, Harsh. So there's Parachute, Saffola, Medicare, Revive, Setwet, Live On. I can go on and on. Which one was the most challenging for you to make a success out of?
So I will not take the brand from Marico, but I'll take Kaya, which is a skincare business. It's very tough. That business is extremely tough because it's a combination of 3 different businesses. It's hospitality, healthcare, and retail. So when you combine these 3, and then each clinic has doctors, and again, doctors demand a different way of treating them. They have many of them have egos. So how do you combine all that and arrive at a business model? This has been a much, much tougher than what I had expected. We also went through a learning curve because we didn't have any experience in managing healthcare and retail and direct to consumer. So if you ask me, that's, as a brand, that has been far more tougher than any other Marico brand like Parachute or Saffola or any other brand, Revive, or whatever other brand you mentioned.
Everybody knows, you mentioned the success of Kaya, and everybody knows about your remarkable successes, but most successful captains of the industry know that failure teaches you some valuable lessons, right? You've obviously had some setbacks as well, failures as well. The title of your book is Harsh Realities. So what would be those that taught you a lot, or which I think, in your opinion, but things that other people should know?
So a very valid question and a very important question. I have dealt with my failures in detail in the book, and there have been multiple failures, but if I had to segment them, initial set of failures were around a certain set of competencies which we lacked or we didn't invest in. And that forced us to invest in those competencies. And I'm talking specifically competencies like product development, legal competencies, regulatory issues. So that we improved upon once we went through that setbacks. But later on, the setbacks were in terms of product portfolio choice. Where do we have a right to win in certain areas which we had launched with a very weak proposition or a Me Too kind of product. And we had to withdraw that. And that led me to think that, okay, we need to, if we have to succeed in the marketplace, we need to have a differentiator, something either unique or innovative or something which is pioneering. We are doing it for the first time. So that was my second set of failures. The third set of failures was to do with the business model itself, wherein we thought that we will acquire an Indian Ayurvedic-based company in US, but catering to the spa industry. Very good products, very good brands. The brand name was Sundari, but because it was catering to spa industry, it had limited interaction. Again, a B2B business, and that again led me to we sold that business, and that led me to go back to the FMCG roots in terms of expanding to other international markets where we could acquire some brands. So, plus many other failures are there in the book, but I think these are the broad buckets of failures. But I always say it's okay to fail, and that's the mantra within the company. Because if you are not willing to fail, or if you have a fear of failure, then you will stop experimenting, you will stop taking risks, and then without risk you will not succeed. So it's very important to take risks. It's okay to fail. And there is a saying that sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. But I say sometimes you win, but you always learn. So failures are learning. And if I look at my own journey, and just to add one more failure which we had in the area of product, about 7-8 years back, we identified baked snacks as a way to grow. And Saffola baked snacks were launched only in the city of Bombay. Because it was under the brand name Saffola, we said that it has to be very healthy. And we prioritized health over taste. But to a consumer of snacks, which is an impulsive product, taste is the most important thing, and health comes second. So that product had to be withdrawn because it was very healthy, but it was not as tasty. So when we launched our Saffola Masala Oats, we went overboard on taste. We profiled the taste of each and every state and developed masala oats depending on the taste profile. For example, in Andhra, some people like more spicy food. Those Andhra masala oats would have a little bit more spice in their formulation. And similarly, depending on the state, like we had a Pongal oats for Tamil Nadu. So we went overboard on the taste, and that has resulted in a huge success of Saffola Masala Oats. We have an 80% market share. We have created a market worth roughly in the range of about 250 crores in the last 4 years, and it's growing. So if we had not gone through that learning, through that failure, we would not have treated taste with that seriousness as we have treated in the masala oats. So there is always a learning, and I've always seen that learning has really helped us in our future journey.
Those are actually, Ramesh, two of my favorite parts of his life journey. One is where he talks about the learnings to create oats, and the other is when he says Sundari had no right to win. What he basically means is that the Ayurveda therapy business in the US, which he had acquired, which went wrong, which taught him so much, is Sundari. So Sundari had no right to win. So that's quite interesting. Speaking of which, I've had the good fortune of being a speaker at one of the Asan Foundation conclaves. Harsh and his team was very kind enough to invite me to speak. And I believe the 6th edition of the conclave is about to kick off. Tell us about the theme and its relevance in the current market scenario, please.
So this year, I think it's a shorter conclave. Normally we hold a physical conclave, which is a full day event. And this year we said that people are tired of. Now, last year we had a conclave over, I think, 4 days, where every day we had about 3 hours. But this time we said, let's have 1 day conclave. And we have very good speakers. I am also speaking with the promoter, founder of Swiggy's. His name also is similar to mine, Harsha. And I'm going to speak on delivering ambition through generations. So basically, this year's conclave is centering around disruptions and the digital journey. And we have Rishad Premji of Wipro and many other speakers, currently some of them in the pipeline, who are going to speak at this conclave. And all I can say is that the conclave have had very good feedback in terms of its ratings, because we select very good speakers, and we run through them in terms of what they're going to speak. So we take it very, very seriously. And I think for those who are not even members of Ascent, they can attend this conclave. You have to register. For the Ascent members, it's free, but for non-Ascent members, you could register and understand what Ascent is more about. But Ascent is something which I would want more and more entrepreneurs to apply for, because it's something which I'm giving something back, and I get very good feedback. We do also what is known as the NPS course, Net Promoter Scores. And for the year 2021, we have a Net Promoter Score of 70, which is very good score. It's increased from a level of 58 in 19 to 65 to 70, and the journey continues. All I can say is that if you are running a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you satisfy certain conditions of being a member in Ascent, you should apply for the membership by just visiting our website www.ascentfoundation.in. And all I can assure you is, if you're chosen, you will get a very good take-home value being a member of Ascent.
That's great. So that's for all you entrepreneurs out there, aspiring entrepreneurs out there. Visit the website of Asan Foundation and check whether you can become a member or not. Harsh, the other thing that I'd like to know from you is innovation. I've noticed that, and you mentioned it as well in all of the stuff that you said earlier, that innovation has always been the cornerstone of everything you do. You've tried so many new things, you've failed so many times, and you've done some really path-breaking new things. You brought path-breaking new products to the market. And it's wonderful that you're serving as a catalyst sort of to fuel innovation in India. A local company doing that, a great thing, and you're setting an example for everybody else. Tell us about your Marico Innovation Foundation. You've sort of run it for a long time now. Please tell us about that.
So MIF, as you know, the Marico Innovation Foundation, was founded by Marico. It's a part of Marico. It's a separate company which is a part of Marico, which is run separately by an independent governing council. We had Dr. Mashilkar as heading the Marico Innovation Foundation for many, many years, and now he just stepped down. We have Amit Chandra, who will now take over as chairing. It's an independent body, which the objective of that is to fuel innovation in India. We have taken multiple initiatives to drive innovation, whether it's a study on innovative companies, or whether it is the Innovative Awards, or we also run a program which is for accelerating innovations amongst innovative organizations, where we have a panel of individual mentors who help these companies. So a whole host of initiatives, and just one new initiative we are embarking now is to actually look at plastics and how can we do to reduce the environmental negative impact of plastics on the environment. And this study is being just started, whether you can reuse the plastics or substitute the plastics or reduce the plastic usage, So this is something which is done. We'll come out with a report in the next few months. But I'm very excited because we see a lot of opportunities to improve in this area. And this is an international study which will identify the best practices, not only in India, but in outside the country also. So that will become a benchmark for improving our journey. And the next stage, once we come out of the report, will be actually how can we influence others, other companies, other municipalities to improve in this area so that the landfill issues are reduced dramatically.
You've also taken some very serious risks and pulled them off in your time, Harsh. You were the first to set up a factory in Kerala despite the state's reputation for labor unrest. You went into Bangladesh and set up a business from scratch in a politically volatile climate, and then emerged as the largest Indian company in that country. What prompted those audacious moves? And I call them audacious because at the time, it was pretty audacious. People must have just advised you all the time saying, don't do this.
So you're right. At one level, there should be some higher, shall I say, readiness to take risks and remove the fear of failure. But at the same time, it should be backed up by some strong kind of rationale. In case of Kerala, which I was dissuaded by my family, my friends to start a factory, the rationale was very strong, which was given by my team, my HR team and my operations team. And they said that, we will take this take care, and the insights were implemented. So it was done out of a lot of deliberation, not just blind risk taking. And similarly in Bangladesh, we said it's a difficult country to get into. Let's prototype that. Let's start in small, and we'll take all the care. So in both cases, there have been a lot of deliberations. But at the fundamental is, okay, you need to take risk. You need to have a approach which is different approach. You can't be impulsive, but you should be able to say that if I did this way, I should be able to succeed. I think that combination of risk taking and a deliberative approach really helped.
So Hrishi spoke about audacious risks. I mean, you've taken audacious risks and bets on categories and brands as well. You bet, for example, on hair oil when everyone around you advised against investing in or acquiring brands in this category. You did the opposite and invariably it paid rich dividends. So what makes you go against the tide, or is it that you go with, or is it gut instinct, or what makes you so successful?
No, it's not gut instinct. It's basically questioning fundamentally questioning what can I do different. So it's not gut instinct at all. I'm not a gut person, but it's more to do with, can I make a difference to others' lives? Can I do something pioneering? And I also get excited by doing something which is different, not for the sake of doing it, but doing it different and succeeding in that differential kind of a decision, So many of my products also, you pioneered concepts like Safura was pioneered, Revive was pioneered, Kaya Skin Training was pioneered. Even lately, last 2 years back before the pandemic, I started Aquacentric, which Hrishi knows about it. He had been there, but again, a pioneering initiative. I like pioneering things, and that's where I get a lot of my energy, excitement, because I'm able to do something differently, offering something differently, which makes sense and which creates value.
Wonderful. Now we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked the book. We've talked the Asan Foundation, Mariwala Health Initiative, Innovation Foundation, all this stuff. Let's wrap with a few lifestyle questions.
Okay.
Now, what kind of music do you listen to? What's on your playlist? And apart from the music, any music concert that you went to during your student days or more recently before the pandemic, obviously, that you really enjoyed?
So my main interest in music, you will be a little surprised to know, is Indian classical vocal music. Okay. And I listen to that every night. I went to a music festival about 3 weeks back to Ananda. And it was superb. It was organized by Prasun Joshi, his wife, and a few others. And it had, because it was a small gathering, about 70 people, we were interacting with all the musicians. They were there for all 3 days. So we used to have lunches with them. Like Shujat Khan was there on sitar, Parveen Sultana, then Jaideep Mawandi was there. And then there was Karnataka music, Aruna, Sriram. So it was superb. It was magic. And I love this music. I also listen to, I'm not averse to listening to Hindi film music, but my passion is actually Indian classical, more so vocal Indian classical music.
Incredible. So what about business leaders? You've inspired so many business leaders, so many people in the country. Who's the business leader you yourself have admired and why?
So it has to be an innovator, Ramesh, it has to be, because innovation is my passion. So somebody like Steve Jobs is truly an outstanding innovator. What he has created is something mind-boggling. And I definitely think, and then on the other side, if you ask me to name an Indian entrepreneur who has really played a very big, important role in making a difference is Azim Premji. The kind of, not only the wealth he has created, but how he's given back something to the society is truly commendable.
A sport you follow and your favorite player in that sport?
Sport I follow, I play golf. I play golf without fail on Saturday and Sunday. So that's the sport I like as of now.
Do you go to Chembur or Willingdon? Where do you go?
I both. On Saturday I go to Willingdon, Sunday I go to Chembur. So
lovely, great.
But Chembur is better. It's a little more traffic on Saturday, so I go to Willingdon. I have a different 4-ball on Willingdon on Saturday, Sunday, Chembur, but that's fixed. And I will not go if you call me for lunch. Anybody calls me for lunch on a Sunday afternoon, I will just refuse. I'm sorry. This is something which is my golf time. I will not accept that call, the lunch. But I enjoy playing golf.
So Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, who's a great golfer?
Tiger Woods would definitely be there in my top list.
Not his personal life, his professional life.
What about a book that has made an impact? I don't know whether you get time to read books now with all the golf.
Yeah, I read one book a month. I just finished reading yesterday a book written by this founder of Netflix. Just finished reading it.
Reed Hastings.
Yes, correct.
Lovely. Your favorite vacation spot and why do you love going there? You just said Ananda, you were up in the Himalayas. Do you like mountains more?
First time I went to Ananda, it was there on my bucket list. When this music thing came up, I said, wow, let's go. My favorite hill station, I love hills. And I love hills where there's a golf course. So my favorite place is Kunur, which is in South India next to Ooty. It's amazing. It's the best weather around the year. It is green around the year. I just love it. There's a golf course there also, and there are many of my friends have houses there. So normally I tend to bump into them. So it's, to me, that's my favorite hill station.
And the club which is adjoining the course is, old and colonial, which is so beautiful. That Kunur golf club.
Yes, yeah.
Gymkhana, yeah, correct, lovely. Harsh, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for being on Minding My Business, the CEO story, and being so transparent with us. In fact, anyone who knows you will tell you that Harsh Mariwala, transparency is his biggest virtue, and you've built businesses based on that quality.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great interacting with both of you. Ramesh, thanks a lot for inviting me to this. And Hrishi, of course, great talking to you.
Thank you very much, Harsh, and you've been an inspiration right through my career. At least, I started my career in the same industry that started your business in. So, it's been really a learning for all of us. I'm sure all of the listeners as well. Thank you for teaching us how to leverage our strengths, take calculated risks, fail, but get up and then try something new again. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
So, Ramesh, what a legend, Harsh Mariwala. I'm so glad you got to meet him all over again. I'm given to understand you met him early on in your career.
Absolutely. When I see you talking less, I know that something has really captivated you, Hrishi. It's very difficult to keep you and radio hosts like you quiet and off the mic. This was really interesting and fabulous learnings for all of us.
Well, I can see you're hell-bent on me having longer legs by pulling them from me. Okay, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you keep listening to some great radio and podcasts. Please build that habit.
And come back next week for another super cool episode.
Yes, Minding My Business, the CEO story, shall be back with another captain of the industry who's been a path breaker. Remember, you can catch us on 94.3 Radio 1, on FM radio, and on HD Smartcast in podcast form over all major streaming platforms. This is a Radio 1 production. So till next week, it's bye from me, Hrishi K.
And me, Ramesh Menon.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss out on more content.